Blog Talk Radio.
Hey there! Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Well, happy Friday, everybody. It is March 4th, 2022, and welcome to Big Blend Radio's first Friday Toast to the Arts and Parks show with the National Parks Arts Foundation. Every first Friday, that's what we do, is we chat with artists in residence that are part of the National Parks Arts Foundation program, where artists apply to be a resident in a park unit, or even if it's right outside a park, but connected to a park for a full month. So we're very excited. We haven't done a live Parks and Arts show for a while. We're your hosts, just to refresh everyone's memory. And for those who are new listening to Big Blend Radio, we're your hosts, Nancy and Lisa. We are a mother-daughter travel team. We travel full-time on the Love Your Parks tour. And also we document parks and public lands. And we also produce a gazillion digital Big Blend magazines, right, Nancy? A whole bunch of them. Yeah. And one of them is Parks and Travel magazine, and you can see that at nationalparktraveling.com. But today we are airing live from beautiful Anacortes, Washington. Like, we can see islands, the coast. We can see daffodils. There are seagulls all over. It is beautiful out here. This is an artist's playground, actually. Wouldn't you say, Nancy?
Yeah. I mean, I want to get paints out. I look at this and I'm like, this is so beautiful. And then there's a seagull that commands the street that we're on, that just walks down like, this is my street, and he doesn't care about cars. They pull over because the seagull walks down the street. I've never seen anything like that. And I didn't realize seagulls were that big.
They are big.
They are bigger than what you think. And he walks down the street and people pull over. He's like, it's my street. This is historic to me.
He's a sea pigeon. Yeah.
Well, he's huge. He's like 10 times the size of a pigeon. Come on.
He does move when I walk. Iris, the dog, the beautiful golden lab, I walk her around here, and she does kind of chase him off a little bit. He's a bit bigger, but today's show is part of our special series. It's our Silver Jubilee anniversary for publishing Big Blend magazines for 25 years in this country. Nancy had a magazine in South Africa, but we had to come home and start over with Big Blend. And it also marks 15 years of broadcasting Big Blend Radio right here on Blog Talk Radio. So we're back to doing some live shows in between our Zoom recordings that you see every day on BigBlendRadio.com. And it also marks 10 years of us traveling on our Love Your Parks tour, documenting parks and public lands. I think we're between 500 and 800 parks from the last time I counted.
I know.
And my counting obviously isn't good when you say between 500 and 800. But really, we cover a lot of ground, and we really have done a lot of travel, especially even over COVID times when people wouldn't think you would be doing a lot of it. We did, and so you'll see a lot coming out over the next few months and of all the parks that we visited. But today we're so excited, as part of our special anniversary, to welcome back two artists that we've interviewed who are both artists in residence through the National Parks Association. We have Dawn Waters-Baker and Patricia Cummins joining us. So we're going to get on the Big Blend party bus, and we're going to go pick them up. So since we're in Anacortes, we're going to head towards Florida to pick up Patricia, but we're going to stop first in Texas. And so we're going to welcome back Dawn Waters-Baker. Dawn, how are you?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm doing fine.
Cool.
Hey, everyone, Dawn is an amazing landscape artist. Oh, my gosh. I just always look at her as a lady of light. You know, I talk to you about that all the time. She is a lady of light in her painting, and she was in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Was it 2019 or 2020 that you were there?
It was both, honestly. It was December to January, so yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, right before COVID really hit. Yeah, yes. And then I was Yes, I know. It's just amazing to think about. Oh, what happened? It feels like 10 years ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, and then I was at Gettysburg National Military Park in, in 2018, and then I was at Big Bend National Park in, when was that? 2015, I think. Yeah. So, yeah.
So this is something you've been doing for a while, and I encourage everyone to go to your website, dawnwatersbaker.com, and that's Dawn, D-A-W-N, Dawn Waters Baker. Your work, I watch it all the time on Facebook and social media, and I'm just always like, your light. And so you do pretty much everything in oils, right?
I do, yes. Oil is my main love, and I have been trying some new things lately, but oil is still the base of everything, so yeah.
What's the new things? I want to know.
Oh, thank you for asking. The new thing is gold leaf. I've been using gold leaf as the base of the painting, and then painting over that, and then I wipe away some of the oil for that to come out. Yeah. So the light, yeah, like you were saying, the light seems to glisten, and I like it a lot. It's new, but I like it. Yeah.
Well, no, that's cool because it's different, and that's what artists do. They go break the rules. Come on, go outside the box. I love it.
That's right. That's right. There you go.
So Dawn, you're in Dallas area, right? This is where the bus has landed to pick you up. I want to know if you like our virtual party bus.
It's great. Yes, I mean, I want to go to Washington, so can I go with you? But
sure, you come on over. It's beautiful out here.
So beautiful there. Oh, I've loved it so much, and yeah, I could live there.
Have you been to Mount Rainier? Oh, you live there?
I said I could live there. I've been to one of my favorite parks there is Olympic, and so we've been there a couple of times as our family. So just a lovely park. Oh my goodness! So
we haven't done that yet. But I'm going to put the big yet. You know, we did do a lot of the our drive up the coast of Oregon. It was Oregon, and we did the redwoods, dodging a storm. I looked at, there's a storm coming. I think we're going to do a drive through the redwoods instead. I mean, you know, if they said it was even going to sprinkle rain on 5, I'm like, we're going through the redwoods. You know, you got to do that. But we're going to get back on the party bus now that we've picked you up in your beautiful state of Texas. You've got, have the blue bonnets come out yet?
Not yet. We're still getting there.
Yeah, it needs a little warming yet.
Yeah. Last time we were in Texas, which was about 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, we drove through ice, and we did. We know about your Texas winters now. I'm just saying.
We're bipolar, aren't we?
I didn't say it because I'm talking to someone who lives in Texas.
We have the range. I tell you, it's like what the heck. So, but
it depends on where you live. I mean, Texas is so big; it's like its own country in a way. You know, you got so many different climate zones in there.
That is so true. I was I remember just driving from Dallas to Big Bend, and it took me as long in the car there as it does to my husband's house folks' house in Illinois. And that really shows you how big Texas is. It really does.
So this climate's different. You can't just go, it's sunny in Texas today, because there's going to be somewhere where maybe not, you know?
Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah. Well, Texas is beautiful, though. I have to say, we've been through some amazing, beautiful places. So, but listen, we're going to get on the party bus, and we're going back to Florida, which is a place that Nancy and I have spent a good amount of time in over the last couple of years, driving around on our park tour. And we're going to go pick up Patricia Cummins. She is an amazing artist as well, and no stranger to parks. And I encourage you to go to her website, patcummins.com. That's CUMMINS, patcummins.com. Also keep up with Dawn at her website, Dawn Waters Baker. But welcome back, Pat. How are you?
I'm great. I'm terrific.
Good.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm also my domain name is also nationalparkpainter.com. I was very lucky to get that. So yeah.
Oh, she's smart. Smarty pants. That's a smart one to get. Because how many? Is it 15 national park residencies you've done now?
Yeah, you've been all over.
15 national park residencies, and it's kind of my anniversary too. It's about 20 years since I started in 2002. I got a studio, and in 2003, Biscayne National Park asked me to paint the flowers of the park.
Nice. How cool.
Wow. So this is exciting. Anniversaries are good because it makes you reflect on what you've done over time. And what's interesting with your work, which is beautiful work, but you really bring in the environment. And I remember when you were in Fort Union, I remember you texted me, there's pronghorn. There's pronghorn. There's antelope. And, it was like a whole night and day difference from being in Florida, right, when you were in Fort Union National Monument.
It was, and we're a lot like Texas because it takes forever to drive out of Florida. It's the same thing.
Yeah, turn it the other way around.
Especially South Florida. I mean, I always think, you just drive up there, but it will take you a good day plus to get out from the South Florida all the way up. Yeah,
a day.
And you want to avoid the toll road. Just saying, through Orlando. Thank you very much. Thank you, and good night.
Okay. Sorry. So I want to ask you about the sizing of your paintings because I went to art college, whatever, and I was always told to always make your paintings deeper, longer in height than in width. And I really can't remember why. And your paintings are like the other way around. It's almost like film strips, and I love it. And I was like, wow, why did the teachers back when I went to art school, college, why did they have this, you had to make your paintings a certain size? And now I'm looking, I'm like, I want to paint like that now. It's like a panorama.
Yes, they're panoramic. They're panoramic. Well, in 2006, I traveled to China, and I saw a lot of scrolls, and I think that was a huge influence on me. Also, to paint in a different format, it takes up more space. I could paint twice as many paintings. Each residency, I might do about 10 to 15 paintings, maybe more or less. I do pastels, too. And I have a collection. I don't sell them all, obviously, so they need to be stored, and it's easier to store them. And I also kind of stuck to that format because all the environments were so much different in each park that them all having a similar size kind of connected them.
That's a good point.
That's the story of the size. 12 by 36 usually.
So, ladies and gentlemen, size matters.
Yes. Size matters. We're going to go to size matters.
I know. But this is interesting about the two of you. I'm so glad you're both on the show today because you're both ladies who get out there in the wilds with your paint. And that's not always an easy thing to do. Because there are things like bugs and sand and,
all sorts of things.
So it's interesting to get out there and do that and paint that way. And, plein air is not easy, but Pat, have you always done plein air or is that or do you do kind of half and half? Because it also looks like you do pastel as well as paint and oil, right?
Yes. I do a lot of plein air. Sometimes I bring it back to the studio. Sometimes I work backwards. I get work from a photograph, and then I go out in plein air, depending on weather and location and logistics. I've had bears come visit, and deer and grouse. I had to look that one up. I didn't know what a grouse was. It scared me. It kind of was the color of the leaves. And the bears, in some parks they've given me bear spray.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And then if there's a bear spotting, we just don't go to that location that day. And wolf, and I haven't seen a wolf, but coyotes I've heard. And yes, and at Fort Union.
Oh, Fort Union, because we went to Fort Union last year, finally, after all these years of interviews and Lorenza being on the show and you and so many artists that go there through the National Park Arts Foundation residency. And we finally got there. And then one of our travel writers in the magazine went there, and she's like, "It's Fort Windy," and we're like, "Yeah, I know it's nicknamed that, and we've discovered that." And all I could think of is all the artists we've interviewed when we were there, going, "How did they do plein air painting in the wind?"
Yeah,
Pat,
yeah.
How did you do that? I mean, seriously, it's no joke. It is Fort Windy. How did you plein air paint? And I mean, were you doing most sketches? I mean, seriously, it's windy.
You have to weight your easel.
Yeah.
You have to hang something from it, like a backpack, or and just weight it down. Sometimes there are rocks, close by. You could throw some rocks in your box, in, that box part of the easel, and that helps. Yeah, and I tend to work low to the ground. Higher up it's bad, and that's where those long canvases are kind of better.
Oh,
they're not
I see.
huge sails.
Oh,
the wind travels around.
Oh, wow, that's a pointer. Now I get it. Okay.
So I turned one around. I turned one around, and I posted it on social media, on Facebook. A lot of artists have been posting sunflowers. I was at Fort Union in October, and the sunflowers had already bloomed, and they were all dried up, but they were still standing tall. And I put that painting that I did at Fort Union on Facebook yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Ukraine support,
That's right.
Yes, in support of our friends.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It is devastating what's happening in Ukraine, and whatever we can do on our side, I just feel as an individual almost helpless, right? It's like, you want to be able to run out and stop the whole thing, but if the people in Ukraine are beyond that feeling, of course they want to feel that, but it's very, very real. I want to go to you, Dawn. Dawn, you were out in Hawaii. Gettysburg, of course, but Hawaii volcanoes, you were plein air painting there. What was that like? I mean, did you ever feel like you could be shaking and rattling there? Because things do happen with that volcano.
Oh, it's just an amazing landscape. I know. Gosh, any place you go, you think this is amazing, and then you go to another one, and it feels that way too. So, but yes, it's just I would say it's a landscape of renewal and death, and and it was just a really interesting juxtaposition to be driving all of a sudden in this very lush green, and then all of a sudden it was just black and completely black, and nothing could grow, except these incredible ohia trees would come through the cracks of the volcano, and they have this incredible ability to close it's not a real mouth, but they close their mouth to the carbon dioxide and the sulfur, and it doesn't kill them. So, but it's just an incredible landscape. I never thought, I was going to, get hurt or anything, but I will say it was overwhelming, and I think it's meant to feel that way. I think that's one of the things I love about the landscape is it's little me and it's big landscape, and I love that feeling of being overwhelmed. I pray more people can experience what that feels like, because in our world with technology and phone images, we kind of say, oh, I like that, that's so pretty, but we don't experience the overwhelming part.
Well, when you go into some of the theaters today, and they can actually make the chair you're sitting in or seat you're sitting in shake, and do stuff that corresponds to the movie that you're watching, and trying to give you that 360 view, and the volume is up and the quality of the sound is good, to take you as close as you could be to a real experience. But the thing is, you're in a house with a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And then that's the difference. It's like if you're out there on your own or with a group of maybe 4, 5, 6 people or something, and they're all doing their own thing, it's a whole different thing, because I think we are herd animals, and when you're in a group of herd animals at the same time, I think you're almost picking up the vibes from everybody else, and not exactly who would you be on your own.
Yeah.
And art is a solitary kind of thing, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I that's really one of the reasons I don't like painting in front of people. I feel like it's just a very private thing, but I like what you said. I think that's so true. And we can try to formulate the feeling of a place, but we're safe inside a building. There's something about being out in the elements where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know, like Patricia said, we don't know if there's a bear. We don't know if there's going to be a storm. It's like there's something about giving yourself over to that, and it's an incredible experience. Yeah.
That's cool.
I think adrenaline has a lot. Oh, go ahead, Pat.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say it's a very healing experience. It just makes everything a whole lot better. Getting out there. It's a personal experience, yes, painting, but I was a teacher of 36 years on all levels, and sharing art in the classroom is a lot different. But it becomes a different kind of an experience when you do that. It's not plein-air painting, it's sharing. They watch you, and then there are so many possibilities that happen after that.
I was looking at it as teaching as unlocking the imagination, and there's 2 factors here, the pupil and the teacher. And the teacher can do only so much. It's up to the pupil to stand up and absorb and unlock, so they can get the best out of the session that you're giving. The pupil is kind of laid on the teacher. It's up to the teacher to a point, but it's also up to the pupil.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
Well, this is interesting about both of you, because you both teach in different formats. Dawn, that I recall, you did a lot of work, and I don't know if you still do, a lot of work with the Juvenile Detention Center in Dallas. You were teaching art there. Do you still do that?
Oh, since COVID, we've not been able to get in as much. Yeah, but I've done it for 6 years, so awesome. I love it, and I'm just hoping to get back in. Yeah, and these are kids who've never ever had art before, and you would just be so excited to see what they can make, and the beauty that comes out of these kids is it's innately made into each person, I think, is that we're meant to be creative people, and
yeah.
And what Patricia said is right. It's healing. It's a healing thing, because I'll see a kid come in and they're mad or upset, and then when they paint, they get it out, and in a healthy way.
I like that. It's true, because it's finally their moment.
Yeah.
It's their moment.
It's amazing.
I think also nature. It's something I wanted to touch on with both of you, with what you've done as artists in residence. And I know, Dawn, you were up in Hawaii Volcanoes. Patricia, you were up at Fort Union. And Fort Union, I know you're used to all kinds of parks around the country. You've done 15, like we talked about, which is awesome. Does it just, the nature part I wanted to touch on with you, because even Fort Union, to me, when we went, no matter where you go in a national park, you're going to either find nature and history seem to connect,
Yeah.
Did you find that, Patricia, in Fort Union, where it's very historic, right? And all these things happen, like the Santa Fe Trail went through there. Obviously, the fort went through different phases of being built and rebuilt, and so a lot of soldiers and a hospital and a jail and all of these things. But did you find the natural beauty something that spoke to you, that kind of maybe brought ground to what these people went through living there, and also the indigenous people that went through Fort Union, the natural aspect?
Well, there was a lot to see there, and I just being around my little cabin there were all kinds of flowers, and you could see the mountains in the distance, and it was there was a field across the way, and the antelope would come at certain times there was so much, but my favorite time was to just get sidetracked and look around, because where I was painting most of the time, close to the cabin there, that was the midden. That's where they dumped everything when they moved stuff at the fort. So there were all kinds of things that we found, broken pieces of porcelain and old pieces of iron, and which also told the history of the fort, and and just trying to figure out what those pieces were and piece them together. Because I would sit around and I take a break from painting and kick around in the dirt out there, and then going, wow, what's this? So,
wow.
The natural beauty was great, but and it was so connected, because there I am looking at nature, and then I was kicking up history.
Yeah.
And the work that you've done in other parks, I mean, you've gone from the Everglades, and I remember when you were there, you had an Everglades specialist, Jeff Weber, with you, and then going from the Everglades to now you've been to Crater Lake, we're going to be going to Crater Lake hopefully in a month or and a half or so. So I mean, you've kind of really gone all over. Tell us, it's a different thing for you each time, right? It's like night and day.
Yeah. It's just, that's what Dawn was saying. It's like, close your eyes, open them, and it's a totally different place.
Isn't that magical?
And that's what's so exciting about it.
Yeah,
because
it's magical. I love it.
And it's magical and inspiring, because you can't wait to paint. It's just like, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Because it's, the change of environment is what's so spectacular. And I went also since 2017. I spent some time in Death Valley and just did some pastels there. It was in the winter, so it was manageable.
Wow.
And that was an incredible place. In Joshua Tree, and since I've been to Fort Union, I've probably visited about 15 to 20 national parks, and I've done 2 residencies. But I always try to fit some in because they're amazing.
Don't you feel like Joshua Tree is like prehistoric or something? I'm waiting for a T-Rex to walk through at any time.
That's awesome.
Yes. And the rocks, because we don't have rocks like that in Florida. The trees were wonderful. I've never, those trees are so bizarre. But the rocks, we have different kind of limestone, oolite, coral rock. It's not like those rocks at all.
I know. No, it's crumbly. It's crumbly. Yeah, it's not like hardcore. Like Florida is so different with that. Yeah,
it's dinosaur.
Yeah, that is the desert Southwest, and that's where Dawn comes in. Dallas is still, to me, desert Southwest. Yet you could go a couple hours from Dawn's house and end up in a swamp. I know, and I've done that.
That's amazing. I'm going to check out Texas. It's kind of in the middle. I need to get over there.
Over there. Do come on, Patricia. Yeah, and if you're in Dallas, let's have lunch. I'd love to meet you. But there's some beautiful places in Texas. I know a lot of people think of it as just a big flat, with the cattle, and it has that. But there's a lot of other things too.
It's way more than that.
No, down south, this down south there is good all the way down at the bottom. That's supposed to be beautiful there.
Yeah, Big Bend. Tell us a bit more about that, because you did Big Bend, Gettysburg. Gettysburg is a whole. We did Gettysburg. Was it last year or the year before? I can't keep up. The 2 years of COVID, Nancy and I can't tell you how many times we've crisscrossed the country, up, down, all around, everywhere. And we went, and that was the time everyone's sheltered, but we were sheltered in that we were, and we still are now, like pet sitting. So we're in homes and sheltered in place, and we're not giving this up. It's so cool because you live in neighborhoods. It's kind of like what you guys do in parks. You're living in the park, so you get to really know geographically what's going on and what life is like. There's a difference, versus, and I'm not knocking our hotel life and any of that, bed and breakfast. We do all that too on our tourism side of what we do, but there's something about really living in the spot and seeing it's just different. I can't even, it's just, you need to be part of it. Like you need to touch the soil. Yeah. You need to be part of it. And
being part, that's what why the residencies are so important, because you're there for, and especially yours, like a month. That's huge to spend a month somewhere. You really get to know the place, and you get to know every angle and all the little animals and insects and wildflowers and the big picture too.
And you get to know their patterns, and that's something like, the patterns of, okay, the sun rises at this time, and this is what typically happens, and then the rain or whatever will come at different times. But I want to ask that, Dawn, in Hawaii, what was that like? Being in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park is way different. I know Big Bend is different than Dallas. It's way different, but absolutely. Hawaii Volcanoes is way different, right?
It is. I was born and raised in the Philippines, so it was kind of like going home in the flora and the fauna.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was. It's a very different, beautiful landscape, and every time you turned around, you were like, oh, I could paint that. It was like overwhelming at times, and then you've got, of course, the ocean, but the volcano itself has got some beautiful hues of and purples and kind of a magenta color in the morning, and just incredible colorings that you get just from the time of day. And so I try to be out there when sunrise and sunset time, and I think every painter likes that time of day, but and then we'd hike around during the high sun time, to look around, see what was there, and we even went into the lava tube, the lava caves that were created by the lava flow, and that was cool.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing, when you think what nature does.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy, it's like.
It really is, yeah. Yeah.
It's natural history. I think that's what's also neat, that you're all experiencing cultural, human history, nature, and then natural history too on these, amazing. I mean, you were in Gettysburg, Dawn. We went to Gettysburg, and it was so overwhelming. Like, we really just had to go to the picnic site and sit down because it was so the feeling was so intense. And there was a lot of people. It was kind of like when COVID, people could get out, and we just wanted to take people and tell them how to behave around all these precious places, and
things like don't step on the graves.
Step on the graves. Don't do that. But it was really overwhelming, and we saw the house, and we saw where NPAF and National Parks Arts Foundation, where people have been, and so interesting when we've been doing these interviews, these first Friday National Parks Arts Foundation shows for over 6 years now. I think it's probably more, where we're interviewing all these artists, you two included, and when you go to a park after here and that you've never been to, and then after you've heard, seen the art or heard the music or the films, seen the photography, everybody's got a different medium, which is so beautiful about NPAF, just being so open about the mediums. When we go to a park like that, you're hearing, we literally hear the interviews in our ears, as we're walking through from the artists. You can see the paintings, you can hear the music, the words. It's kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a different thing as a visitor once. And for us, a little different, more because we've done the interviews, and so you're invested in it, and you just invest in the experience, And so when you're there, it's this, you're hearing it from every person's perspective. If you know what I mean, it's like we're taking the artist on our shoulders going in. It's very interesting to do that.
I love that. I think that's why we need artists. At parks. We need all these wonderful perspectives. I mean, I don't care, honestly, that the more, it's like when people say, oh, it's another painter, I think, oh, but you don't understand. Each painter sees differently. And, and I felt the same way at Gettysburg. It's I think every American should walk a landscape of a battlefield and have the opportunity to feel what that feels like, because we don't have the World War II landscapes to walk. We can walk the Civil War, and especially during this time when it was happening in our country, we were going through so much racial divide, and it's been really, really appropriate that we should go back to those places and ask ourselves, what kind of American do we want to be?
That is so true, because, it's all about your individual take on things. And everybody, if you're going to be an individual, you're going to have your own take. Even if you belong to clubs or groups or parties or whatever you want to call it, you still, at the end of the day, I don't know who you are if you're not you. And if you can't portray who you are in speech or writing or painting in some way, then maybe it's lost. I don't know. But I think when people feel that they're lost, I don't think they're lost. I think they're just sifting through a whole bunch of things that society throws at them. And the older we get as a nation, the more sifting through you get to do, which is unfortunate. But at the end of the day, finding out who you are and how you negotiate life and how you express yourself, hopefully in a positive way, but sometimes negative has to be there to say, please change this. But it's just to have people, instead of reacting in a bad way, sit there, think about it, read it, look at it, absorb it, and think about it before you talk. If there was something that would happen that could make that happen, I think there wouldn't be any wars.
I know. You said that so well. I just think that's one of the gifts of an artist is to bring empathy, and to help us to enter into like a place where we say, "Oh, I have felt that way too," Yeah. So that really.
I was going to say, Patricia, what do you feel when you paint? Is there your paintings, you do a lot on nature, especially environmental art, which is who you are, but do you want people to connect with the landscape, the nature, protect the land?
Well, I think, first of all, when you're painting, you get into some kind of zone, probably similar to meditation, because the time just passes and you're unaware. So I just the act of painting changes your demeanor. And what Dawn has said, if you have some outlet, and if you have issues, like there are a lot of children now are watching this war on television, and I'm sure they're having a lot of issues and problems dealing with it, and parents need to help them, through expression, through music, through drawing, through gymnastics, things, outlets that will help them, through dance, to let loose some of the anxiety, because that's what it does, and that's how I feel, and I would like people to feel that when they look at my paintings, to feel a calmness, to feel that appreciation that I had while I was painting it.
I do. Looking at both of you and Dawn's art, that both of you put me into nature. Like, we travel, we do a ton in nature, and at the same time end up attached to our computers day in and day out, where we go, what the hell are we doing? But when you look at art, like both of your pieces of art, it brings me back to who we are. It's centered, and art is, it makes you think, it makes you feel, and it bring me back to the natural world, because it's greater than anything, right? The natural world is the ultimate healer of, Dawn always talk about Dawn's light, and and Patricia, you bring out all the beauty of like flowers and everything. It's like, okay, this is what I care about. For me, both of you bring me to center play, and I think it's so true. We look at what's going on in the education system now, it's very difficult, and for kids, like, do you wear a mask or you don't? All that drama is going on, but kids do need that outlet. Human beings need that outlet. They need to go for a walk in the park. I think we learned that during COVID. People didn't belong boxed in a house. They need out, So outlets are good. Artistic, as much as possible. Running, walking, looking at nature. You're really, really right. And I think, both of you just do that. And I think with this Artist-Residency program, what National Parks Arts Foundation does, we're just honored to be connected, to be able to interview all of you and all the artists over the years. They're bringing the arts, especially pre-COVID, not only is it an experience for the artists, but it's an experience for the people in the parks, even the park people, the people working, the rangers and everybody involved. The locals that are involved, because I know there's a lot of local organizations that help fund it and make it happen. It's something, what are they going to think about our park? What did they come out with? What did they see that I didn't see? Or, what am I going to see from their art that makes me feel at home? And then the visitors that come in. There's, those events that would happen where you connect with the locals and the visitors, I think was so important too. So did either of you do any events? I mean, listen, it's been a few years, and we've interviewed a lot of people, so I'm sorry if my memory is not that great, but Pat, did you do an event while you were at Fort Union?
It was better for me to go into the Las Vegas, the next biggest town there. It was probably, and I had an exhibition there, and Jeff presented his photographs, and I did a PowerPoint of my residency experience at all the parks, and it was a wonderful evening. There were a lot of people that showed up, and then there was a physical exhibition of the works that I did when the month I was there. So I think that's very important, the interpretive part, to share and to find as many venues as you can. I've been so fortunate. Disney World, Epcot's International Artists Festival for the last 2 years, for 2018 and 2019, I shared my national park paintings through PowerPoint and discussion at Epcot Center.
Cool.
Through a seminar. Yeah, and to get out there and people connect, and you connect to the audience and oh yeah, and then that's yay, and they'll clap for their hometown, I'm from Oregon, or I'm from Washington State, and they see their parks and they get all excited. Yeah. And it brings everybody together. And it also it shows the value of art to people that may not really consider that valuable.
Okay, this is interesting because they get that connection, and you have that personal energy connection. I think musicians get that when they perform a lot, right?
Of course.
And that's why it really, they had all those interesting cartoons going around on Facebook about artists during the pandemic. Artists were like, "What? We've been doing this for years. We just want to be alone with our paintings." But musicians are like, "What do you do, man? I got to have my connection, So it's really interesting about these events, and I hope they get to come back. I mean, it's just going to be a slow move forward, but I mean, that's this beauty. Even if you haven't done the in-person event, the thing is, this art goes. It's everlasting, and it goes around the world in some ways. Just even digitally, what you do in parks as artists in residence, this goes. It travels, and someone will see a painting and experience a painting, and maybe they'll never get to Fort Union or Hawaii Volcanoes or Gettysburg or the Everglades or wherever, but they have some kind of feeling because art brings feeling and connection.
It's a connection.
And a connection to a park that they may never visit.
It's like throwing a pebble, throwing a rock into the water.
Yeah,
and the ripples.
Exactly. Dawn, did you do any events when you were in Hawaii Volcanoes or Gettysburg?
I did, yes. At the Visitor Center in Gettysburg, I shared my plein air work, and then while I was at Hawaii Volcanoes, I was at the Kahuku unit, which is a really green, lush mounds that are formed by the volcanoes, but it kind of reminds me of Hobbiton, like in Lord of the Rings, except there was no houses, But anyway, it was just the most green place, and I was able to share my work there as well. So mine have always been sort of small, intimate gatherings. It's never been like a huge, big group, but I like it that way, and I like talking to having the rangers there, and can't say enough about how blessed we are to have these incredible scientists and historians and just land lovers who share with us the wealth and beauty of the landscape. And I feel like it really helps us to see how art connects to science, art connects to history, art connects to people and families, and like Patricia was saying.
Absolutely. Before photographers, which is also an art, so don't email me and call me names, they used to take sketch artists and painters
email and call our names. Do it. I want to see it.
Okay. No, because okay, I'm done with that. But they used to take people on historic expeditions because they could sketch, because they could paint, to say this is what you get later in a photograph, 50, 60 years later or whatever it was. But, I mean, somebody had to record.
Hey, that's how our national park system was created.
Exactly.
It was because of artists and photographers and expeditioners.
Art is so important, whether it's stage, screen, painting, the spoken word. No, it's important. Absolutely. And we can't give it up because now we have everything with TV and all that. You can't give it up because you never know when that's going to go away.
Well, and that's right. And we've got to get people out where they actually see really big trees and they see really big sky. And, and I just hope and that even with this pandemic, people were saying, oh, well, we could at least go outside. And I even remember a couple of teenagers saying to me, outside? Like what? And I was thinking, yeah, man, let's go outside, So it's just.
But you can watch a film about the redwood trees, but until you stand next to one, you don't get it. You don't get the full thing. As good as films are, and they do the pan up and pan down, but you still don't get it till you stand next to one. How big those trees are, how important they are, how magnificent. Films are great. I'm not against films at all, or paintings. But when you are, 5 feet something and you're standing next to one of those trees, it's like, whoa.
So, ladies, I want to know what has happened since. I mean, we're revisiting some memories here, but what's going on now for each of you with your art? Patricia, Pat, what is happening for you now? Do you have exhibits happening? Are you getting ready for another adventure?
Yes.
What's happening now? What do you want to let everybody know about what's going on?
Oh, right now, well, let's see. COVID is still kind of hovering over us in Miami. Last week, I just closed a show. It was a real show with real art on the wall and not like a virtual show on the computer. And Keep a Warm Mask. It was with the Tropical Audubon Society. And my work was exhibited with Audubon prints, the birds of North America. And it was delightful to do that again. I mean, I really would love to do that more often. And it's just beginning. I've applied for some residencies. I've applied for grants. I did receive a residency to go out to New Mexico again, to Desert Mountain in between Albuquerque and Santa Fe. And then COVID was a huge issue forget it. So I might revisit that. I might go back and so we're working on applications and grants and things like that. I purchased a bungalow up in the Catskills, and I've been painting up in the Hudson River Valley in New York. And one of my paintings was just exhibited, and it's currently on exhibition at Florida International University.
Cool. Right on.
Painting I did in Hudson. Yeah. I'm part of the national park. Yeah, it's really beautiful there. So I'm going to be spending some time during the summer up there because it's really hot in Miami during the summer. So I go back and forth.
I think Nancy and I are working to be there in winter, the next winter coming up because, we need to. I'm just saying. We've learned since we've talked to you. We've been in all kinds of winter weather, and that includes Salina, Texas, above Dallas. We don't want to revisit that again. I'm just saying. We don't need to drive. Actually, we love Salina. We love Salina and had a great time, but I don't need to drive on 4 hours of ice again in my life. It was one time,
amazing.
and that's that. I'm done. And we couldn't get out of our car. People had to get us out, and I don't want that experience again. But really, come on, all those kind of things add to your life stories, and you laugh later.
It's a good story.
It was a good story, and I had a good glass of wine from Australia. Thank you, Ada the Gate, because we were like, that's it. Just give me the bottle of wine, and I'm fine. I did that, and that was fine. But really, all these experiences you ladies have are incredible. Just being able to go out and do things, but. Dawn, let's catch up with you because I've seen on Facebook that you've, and I'm sorry, by the way, since we've all connected in the beginning, I got taken off of Facebook for being hacked or whatever, and if, we're back now, so if I haven't been up to date with you as much as normal, that's why, but we're back, we're all back on Facebook and have been for a while, but Dawn, what I have seen is it seems that you had some exhibits. Were they virtual, live? What's been happening with you lately?
Well, thank you for asking. I've I had a piece in the Manifest Gallery show recently, but my main gallery is switched from here in Dallas to New York. I'm at Waterfall Mansion and Gallery there, and I'm painting mostly waterfalls. So
nice.
That's been really, really. I mean, the pandemic kind of brought that out, and it was just one of those things of like, wow, I really like doing this. But of course, there's nothing like getting to see some real ones. We've been to Niagara and just the Finger Lakes area, and Letchworth State Park has some beautiful ones. But yeah, there's nothing like seeing the real thing. But yeah, that's really what I'm doing right now is working mostly for that gallery, and I have one in Tulsa as well. So yeah.
You ladies are busy. Go ahead.
Well, it's good to be busy, and I feel like artists, we have to find creative ways, don't we, to get out there, even with this, and so thank you to Instagram and Facebook. So,
Dawn,
keep going.
Dawn, you need to go to Whiskeytown National Recreation Area in Northern California. There are waterfalls all over the place up there.
Thank you, Patricia. That sounds wonderful.
Whiskeytown's cool.
Hey, listen, we're in Washington State and Oregon, and apparently there's a bunch out here that we're going to be discovering. And our friends in Asheville, North Carolina, were just sending us photos of waterfalls and the Great Blue Ridge Mountain Parkway and Smoky Mountains. So, I think there's a release with it because it's like a giant cry. Well, a waterfall is like nature's tears, but tears of joy or sadness, no matter what it is, it's a release, right? So there's something about painting waterfalls, I think, that, because even the strokes have to be kind of like you're letting it out. There's a release.
But you could cross this country forever and see something different all the time. If that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for the same, that's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
But if you're open-hearted, open-minded, and you cross this country, this is amazing what you can see. It's amazing.
I think what the National Parks Arts Foundation is doing is so cool to be able to spend that time. And I know that parks come and change, like they come and go, not come and go, but like change. And there's some that have been there for years in their residency program, but it's not easy what they put on. Like, doing dry tortugas on a remote island, the Loggerhead Key, that's not easy. They have a house dedicated to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, Haleakala in Hawaii. There's Chaco, there's Fort Union, there's Death Valley, It's
amazing.
But what they're doing is...
Are you going to go to Tortugas when you come to Florida?
We've been to Florida. We will go to Tortugas at some point, Nancy and I. Yeah, I mean, and we're hoping to do that. It's because we have not done dry Tortugas, and we will be back on the East Coast in August, going through for a while, actually. So once we get over, because we've been back and forth, and once we get over there, well, yeah, I mean, why not go to Dry Tortugas?
Yeah.
What's stopping us?
Nothing.
Yeah. Isn't it just a boat ride across, or swim?
I'm very tempted to apply. I have applied.
Oh, you should. I was going to ask, that was my next question, is what is the next NPAF residency you girls want to do? So Dry Tortugas. Oh, come on. You should. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's very remote, though.
Yes.
You're an island.
But you already know Florida, right? You already have that experience of hurricanes, and you understand. And come on, like that is, like seriously, that is, come on, isn't that going to be the most epic, like, residency to be on your own island? And you can take someone with you. I want my
own island.
I know.
It's very tempting. I think Hawaii would come first. I think Hawaii would be first.
Yeah,
I think Nancy and I would apply, but I don't think they'll let us because we do our shows with them and everything. I don't think we're allowed, but we want to apply for it. And I just want to apply so I'm off the grid for an entire month. Like, I'll have a panic attack and then I'll be fine and I'll be like, dude, I'm never coming back.
I would love it because I could just like sit there and be one with the environment.
And she'll paint.
Yeah,
I'll paint. Because once Nancy starts painting, that's it. She's off, and that's it.
Yeah.
Dawn, what about you? Would you do Dry Tortugas or?
I probably won't until my kids are grown because that's a long time to be away from my kiddos. But I did apply to Fort Union and I did get it, but we are still trying to. We're still trying to finalize that because of some just some national parks adjustments now going on. So we'll see.
Sure.
But
because they're getting a new visitor center and there's a lot a lot of change happening at Fort Union. That's all positive, good stuff. But wow. Oh, so we didn't know that. You just dropped a little bombshell of nuggety news. This is cool. Hey, maybe we'll see you. Like, maybe it'll happen on our drive across. You never know. We'll come see you in the park at work.
Oh,
that would
be great.
So cool. I know. Our plan, this whole COVID thing has been it's a pain in the butt. But, like, we would really prefer going to the parks when the artists are there so we can bug you all. Because I know you, just like, as you're painting, hello. It would be so cool to see you.
Oh, we'd love that. I love that.
It would be so cool, like to see you guys in the park at work.
I think we should do that. Why not do that?
We tried, but we did almost do it in Death Valley, and then we had a close friend pass away, and we couldn't do that. It was Harun Medevec, who's an amazing photographer, and we were going to go see him and do his interview in person in Death Valley. And then someone real close in our family passed away, and that was a family friend, and we really couldn't at that point. So that kind of sucked because we really, it sucked for the passing, but it's, we really wanted to do that and we had that one opportunity. So hopefully now as COVID starts to seem to go away, can we take a big clown shoe and kick it somewhere? Maybe we can get back into that mode and hopefully do that. Because we did, in the beginning of us traveling the last few years, get up to Chaco. We went to Aztec Ruins. We've been to Fort Union. We've done Gettysburg. We've done a few of the parks, and we really want to do that because I think what's so cool is NPAF, National Parks Arts Foundation, what they're doing is amazing. And what's coming out from the artists is also amazing. And it's kind of this unified thing that helps promote the parks. And like I said, this art goes around the world. Yeah, it
helps save the land. It does.
It is. It's a conservation project. It really is with what you're doing. So very cool.
Kudos to Tanya Ortega for her generative idea of giving it to the artists. I think we need more people like her. So
Well, she
Absolutely.
started. I mean, she understood, and she started the whole nonprofit. And of course, you know, it's becoming this bigger entity that's beautiful and getting stronger and stronger and stronger as a nonprofit. And she started it as really wanting artists to have that opportunity.
It's a good heart.
It's a good heart
who does that. It's a good heart.
Absolutely.
That's a good heart, and I like to follow good hearts.
I agree.
Me too.
The whole organization. Well, ladies, thank you for joining us on the show. It has been a pleasure to just reconnect and hear your voices and hear what's going on. You know, so, you know, and listen, hopefully we'll see you wherever we're traveling around. Hopefully it won't be in snow and ice. And, you know, we can go on a park picnic together. And listen, Dawn, when we get to Dallas next time, like, COVID will be gone and we can go, like, hang out.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Thank you.
And Pat, we're going to have to go see some alligators. Is that okay? Like, next time we get to South Florida.
Definitely. You know my number.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank the National Parks Arts Foundation because the application process is so much easier to deal with. I've been doing this for, like I said, 20 years, and it's nice when your work is someplace and it's stored. You know, it's in cyberspace, and you just pick out and click on it and send it off. You know, you write your proposal and talk about it. It's a lot better than hard copy. And when I first did it, it was like real slides, film slides. So it really has changed, and the process is wonderful. And you've picked some great parks to work with, and I hope you get some more at the foundation.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear about that. You know?
Yeah,
because we don't apply. We just do a radio show here, and so we're not NPAF, just to be 100% clear. We just do these shows with them because it's so darn cool, and we love them. And
but I know they're listening.
I know, and I want to make sure
they better be.
They are. But I think this is so cool to talk about because the submission I'm really glad you brought this up before we go, because this is important. It is a submission process for artists to go in and submit and apply. I don't like the word submit because that just sounds so like...
I don't like that.
It just sounds so, you know. But you apply, and there is a submission, right? But there's an application process because the art even goes through a jury. It's a juried application. And I don't know if either of you had this where you applied and didn't get it, and then you went and did it again. And the majority of the artists we've talked about get accepted the first time, or maybe they didn't get accepted. They got accepted the first time, but not the second time. And it just is what it is. It's one of those things that just don't give up. My point.
You don't give up. Life. Acadia National Park is an example for me. It isn't one of the parks that the National Parks Arts Foundation deals with, but I did 4 applications over probably the period of 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And the 4th time, and I was alternate 3 times, and the 4th time I got the residency. So you just have to keep on applying. It depends on who else is applying at the same time as you. You don't know, and if the jury's changed, or you don't know what the circumstances are.
Yeah,
and it's also about like who's in the pool, what's going on with the park, what is the viewpoint. I mean, it is what it is, you know, and you can't take it too personally. And everybody also grows. Everybody grows. The organization grows. The people do. The jury does. So what about you, Dawn? Have you applied and not gotten it and kept going, or what's your experience on that?
That's happened to me with Haleakala. I think I tied a couple times for it, and then I kept trying, and now I've gotten to where I feel like, all right, it's not for me, you know. But it looks like an incredible one, and kudos to the artists who get to go. I think it's wonderful, and I mean, I feel spoiled just getting to do the ones I've done, so I can't complain at all. But yeah, absolutely. I think we have to keep trying, and like our work changes too. So as you improve and you see more parks and you do more work, your work's going to get better. So just keep trying and keep applying. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's how life is. I mean, it's bounce, repeat.
Right.
You do something, and then you bounce your head against the wall, and then you go back, you repeat it, but change it up a bit, and then, and I mean, nobody ever says you're going to be 100% successful 100% of the time. That would not be life. That would be a movie.
That's right.
Yeah. That's really true. But and even movies showcase that too. It's like it just isn't, and it's also everybody grows. And here's the thing on life: everybody grows in different things at different times. So really, there's no right or wrong other than if you're killing someone or doing something really cruel. But on the normal sphere, everybody's growing and appreciating things at different times.
Right.
And so it really is that. It is what it is. So just keep doing it, and really these experiences where, I mean, to have a month in a park, it's
awesome.
worth it. I mean, it's worth it. I mean, it really is. I mean, just think like you can just create. And what I love about NPAF, from what I've heard from majority of the artists on our show, is that you come in with, this is my proposal, this is what I envision doing. 95% of the time, from what we've experienced on the shows, it changes. As soon as they get to the park, the artists change up. Oh my God, I see this. I want to do this. Because now their feet are on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And so this is it. So is this right for you girls? And so this happens.
It's absolutely. You're 100%. Because I'm like, how can they ask you what you're going to do if you, most of the time
never been there.
You haven't been there. But even if you have been
there, it's called a proposal. It's a proposed idea.
Well,
but NPAF is not one of those organizations like, you said you would do this exact painting.
Yes.
They're open to the creative expression growing and flowing as you get there, and for artists to change their format, try something new. Hey, I've never done this before, but this is my opportunity to try watercolors instead of oil. And they've been really open, which I think is amazing for an organization to have that. I'm just going from the interviews and with what we've done over the years. It just seems that they truly believe in artists being artists and doing what they feel.
Yes, they really help us to do our best work.
Yeah.
And that can't happen if you're told what to do,
Yeah, no, but that's true.
Really
that's
true.
one thing. It's one thing about artists. Don't tell them what to do, because they will do the opposite.
Yeah, well, we'll feel stuck and we'll feel so frustrated. We can't do it.
Because it's not your mindset. As an artist, the mindset is the mindset, and that's what you're programmed to do. That's and when I say program, I mean from Mama Nature, just saying.
Oh, that's amazing what you say about that, because it's about art being art. And I think that's so difficult too. It's like when you think about an organization like representing artists and standing strong with it, I give them props. I give them such mad props for it, because, listen, there would be no national parks without the arts, because that's how they were founded, period.
Exactly.
If you didn't have the arts, there would be no national park system. So I think this is, such an appropriate
Everything
thing.
would be concrete and buildings if
and
it wasn't for the arts.
And the arts tell the truth, period. They always tell the truth of what's going on in the world. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to play a song for both of you, which we may have already played. I think we probably played the same song when you were on the show. Who knows? This is called Clouds Alive in Wild Paint, because you both paint and you both go outdoors. Hey, listen, Dawn, do you do the little ones too? It looks like in the photos, the little smaller.
I like to do those little studies, like they were talking about the wind. It's like, let's just do some small ones.
Yeah, cool.
We gave it a
change of plan.
So when you see those, stock art photos with artists out in the park with these giant things, it's not true. It's not happening. It's not true. But everyone, we're going to play Clouds Alive in Wild Paint by our friend May Edwards. And you can go to our website, mayedwards.com. It's M-A-E, like Mae West. I like to call her Mae West when she comes on the show, and she's fine with it. She's an amazing artist, Emmy award-winning editor for Disney and everybody, game shows, you name it. But mayedwards.com, amazing musician. We also want to give a shout-out to the National Parks Arts Foundation. Thank you for doing this for over 6 years with us, letting us interview the artists in residence in your amazing programs. And your artists are amazing, and thank you both. Thank you, everyone, for being on our show. This is part one of a reunion show. Actually, we did one last year with the Artists of Dry Tour, too, because this is kind of technically part two. But this is our anniversary year. So, you know. So we have another one coming up for our April show, which is on April 1st, April Fool's Day, but we're past the 12 o'clock time, so it's good. And we have more coming. So stay tuned for that at bigblendradio.com. And, of course, keep up with Pat. Pat, it's nationalparkpainter.com, right? It's your new website?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yes,
and then keep up with Dawn at dawnwatersbaker.com, and that's DAWN, dawnwatersbaker.com. And, of course, the National Parks Arts Foundation is nationalparksartsfoundation.com. And here it is, Clouds Alive with Wild Paint. Thank you, ladies. You both take care, and best wishes on your next adventures.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, Lisa. Bye, Dawn. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.